Hey guys, I'm Michelle Taylor from veganbreak.com, and I'm here today at Farm Sanctuary with Gene Baur. He is the president and co-founder of Farm Sanctuary. It started in 1986 and it's been growing since then, so he's going to tell you a little bit about the sanctuary.
Yes, that's right. We're here at Farm Sanctuary in Watkins Glen, New York. It's a sanctuary for farm animals. We run two of these facilities, one here in Watkins Glen and one in Orland, California. These are sanctuaries where animals have been rescued from abuse. All the animals here came from bad situations. In some cases, living animals came out of trash cans where they were just discarded. Some were left on piles of dead animals. And Farm Sanctuary is a place where people get to meet cows and pigs and sheep and chickens and turkeys and recognize that they are living, feeling individuals, just like cats and dogs. So Farm Sanctuary is a unique place where people get to know farm animals. And we encourage people to consider not eating them. Farm Sanctuary is a place where vegan is normal, where the animals are our friends, not our food. And in addition to our shelter work and our rescue and sanctuary work, we do education and advocacy. And we encourage people to think about their food choices and to recognize that every day when you decide what you're going to put on your plate, that decision has profound consequences for your own health. By eating animal products the way we do in the United States, we are literally killing ourselves. Heart disease and cancer are the top two causes of death, and the likelihood of both can be reduced by eating plants instead of animals. Also, the livestock and poultry industries are responsible for global warming to an extent greater than the entire transportation industry. So every time we eat, we impact the lives of other animals. Obviously, for eating animals, they had to be killed. And the fact is, we don't need to kill animals. I've been a vegan since 1985. So you can live and do well without eating any meat, milk, or eggs. So by choosing to eat plants, we're obviously helping animals. We're also helping our own health in most cases, because in our country we eat far too many animal products and it's literally killing us. And then finally, by eating plants instead of animals, we help the planet, because producing meat requires that we grow plants and then feed those to the animals, and the conversion rate is very inefficient, and so it requires vast more water, land, and even fossil fuel resources. There's a New York Times article that compared the amount of fossil fuels to make a vegetarian meal versus a meat meal, and it took 16 times more fossil fuels to make the meat meal. So, we don't really think enough about our food choices and the profound consequences of them, and that's another very important message of Farm Sanctuary, because each of us can make a difference. And then we also work on political campaigns and legislative efforts to end the inhumane confinement of animals. So that's a whole nother area that we work on. Animals on factory farms are put in small cages where they can't turn around, they can't exercise, they can't move at all. So we're trying to ban those cruelties, and we've had some success in several states passing legislation. We'll continue to do that work and encourage people to get involved and go to our Farm Sanctuary website, which is farmsanctuary.org.
Mm-hmm. And so farmsanctuary.org, you can find tons of their literature. They put a lot of work into making really great leaflets and pamphlets and booklets that you can use to educate yourself, and also that you can distribute to other people. So tons of resources there. And then I highly recommend visiting a farm sanctuary, because we're here in the New York sanctuary right now, and it is the most amazing experience ever. We're at the Hoe Down, actually. They have an annual event at both sites where they invite people to come camp on their property and visit the animals and hear speakers. And I came last year for the first time and met my first cow, which was a very moving experience for me, and they're the most gentle giants ever. But it's just truly an amazing experience, and definitely it's a place to bring kids too. It's often hard to talk about these things with kids, but once they see the animals and interact with them, their hearts are moved by that. So it's another good way to introduce the subject there. Do you want to talk a little bit about what inspired you to start the sanctuary?
Yeah, sure. And one thing too, I'll mention that we have overnight cabins where people can actually come and stay overnight at Farm Sanctuary. We have bed and breakfast cabins here in Watkins Glen, New York. We also have overnight cabin in Orland, California, where that one actually has a kitchen and a bathroom in it. So people can come, stay overnight. And in terms of what inspired me to start Farm Sanctuary, back in 1986, there was not very much attention being paid to what's happening to animals on farms. And although there's been a number of efforts to end, overpopulation of companion animals, and to prevent the abuses of animals in the fur industry, and protect wildlife and whales, for instance, there's very little attention being paid to what was happening to the vast majority of animals in the United States, which are farm animals. Every year there are over 10 billion farm animals that are exploited by the food industry. They're raised in these intensive confinement systems. They're crowded so tightly they can barely move. They're fed antibiotics routinely because the conditions are so filthy that they would die if they weren't given these drugs. And then they're brutally slaughtered, all unnecessarily. So I see the meat, dairy, and egg industry is very similar to how the tobacco industry was, 20 or so years ago. It's something that is harmful, that is killing consumers, and it is something that when people learn about, can do something directly to make a difference. So back in 1986, though, there was very little attention being paid to farm animals and to the importance of thinking about our food choices and eating plants instead of animals, and that's why Farm Sanctuary started. And at first, we wanted to see firsthand what was going on, so started visiting farms and literally finding living animals in trash cans or in piles of dead animals. So we couldn't leave them there, so we brought them home, took care of them, and then we recognized that these animals were ambassadors. People came over and were very interested to meet these animals, and so it was clear that they played a role in educating people, and that's what the sanctuaries have continued to do. But then, in addition to rescuing animals, we felt it was important to stop them from being thrown on the dead pile in the first place. So then we do education and promote a vegan lifestyle, and we also work to pass laws to prevent some of the worst cruelties.
So if some of the viewers want to get involved and start getting involved with Farm Sanctuary or maybe using some of the resources, how can they go about doing that?
They could go to our website, which is www.farmsanctuary.org. There's information there on getting involved. People can actually come and intern at the farm, where you live here and help take care of the animals and help run the operation. We have Walk for Farm Animals events every year in the fall. Also in November, we have an Adopt a Turkey program where people can save a turkey instead of serving one for Thanksgiving. So that's a whole new tradition that we're working to increase, and it's growing every year. We started that back in 1986. So we encourage people to save a turkey through the Adopt a Turkey program at Thanksgiving. We have an Adopt a Farm Animal program where people can help sponsor an animal who lives here at the farm. And
those make great gifts, by the way.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Sponsors get a picture of the animal that's living here, and they get updates about their lives, and it's a way to stay in touch with the animals at the farm and to really feel like you're making a difference, because you can see the individuals who are helping. So the Adopt a Farm Animal programs are another really good way for people to get involved.
And then also, Gene recently published a book, a Farm Sanctuary book, which is amazing. It's actually the book that made my mom go vegan.
That's great, man.
Yeah, and it gives kind of a... Do you want to tell a little bit about your book?
Well, yeah, it talks about the history of Farm Sanctuary, going in, finding animals in these horrible places, rescuing them, and each chapter ends with a section about an individual animal and their story. But it also is, tells the Farm Sanctuary story about going in and discovering what is happening on these factory farms and trying to do something about it. We talk about some of the political battles that we've been involved in and some of our hopes for the future. So it's been well received, I'm happy to say.
It's a very moving read. It kind of like you learn about a lot of these cruelties without it just being put out there with no positive spin on it, but it makes it really powerful, just that they tie it in with specific stories. So
Farm Sanctuary really is a place of hope and transformation. We take horrible situations, literally animals thrown in trash cans, and we take them out and we take care of them. And as we watch these animals recover and heal and start to walk and start to enjoy life, it's transforming for those individuals, but it's also transforming in a sense for us, because cruelty is something I think most people don't like and don't want to be part of. But unwittingly, most people are part of it by their food choices. And it's empowering to become educated and to make choices that you can feel good about. And Farm Sanctuary is a place of transformation. Many times people visit, get to know an individual animal, or learn that they actually don't have to eat meat to be healthy. I mean, there's so many myths out there. We are raised, many of us, to believe that you have to eat animal products to be healthy. We do not. And so just challenging some of these assumptions can make a world of difference for people, and for animals, and for the planet.
Yeah. All right, well, thank you so much, Gene. Everyone make sure you check out farmsanctuary.org and Gene's book, Farm Sanctuary, and come visit the sites, because this will definitely change your life. And it's one of the most peaceful places in the world that I've ever been to.
Yes, it's a place where vegan is normal. It's a place where it's about caring for others and living in a way that is consistent with our own values, our own humane values, and also, frankly, consistent with our own interests. Because eating the way we are now is hurting us, hurting the planet, and it doesn't have to be that way.
All right, thank you so much,
Thank you.
I will see you guys later. Bye.